Is my mic good? Is my mic good? What's the deal? It's your boy Kelly Flicks, and we back with another episode of The Late Show. You know how we get down. We're finna be down here for a little bit. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, y'all. I'm not gonna cap. We got a lot of stuff. SWAC Media Day. That was cool. MEAC Media Day was a movie. We got some late game commits. Shout out to Southern, just picking up this dude, Trey Holly. So it's low key. It's been cracking. I ain't gonna lie, it's been cracking. So we back. We got plenty of stuff to talk about. But off the back, I want to get to a couple little interviews, man. There was this MEAC SWAC challenge. It was an interview. Before I get going, let me make sure my my audio is straight, man. Are we on there? It's a wrap. So first, I want to start off with this little interview. This is the MEAC SWAC challenge. All right, so we'll get a chance to take a look at this for a little bit. So if y'all didn't know, North Carolina Central and Southern is playing Saturday, August 23rd. It's going to be a game in Georgia, and this is this year's MEAC SWAC kickoff. All right, it's going to open the season. This is a week 0 game, FCS. So we got two pretty good teams, I'm not going to lie. Southern just went to the SWAC championship. North Carolina Central essentially played for the MEAC championship. So we're talking about two very established teams, two teams that these are two programs, right? This isn't a team, isn't like a new guy in charge. Like Terrence Graves did a great job at Southern and has put them in a nice position to where in this game against North Carolina Central, probably the best team in the MEAC, they're going to be competitive, right? So this interview was pretty interesting. They got into a couple different things. Southern talked about their quarterback and what Jalen Woods can do. I'm expecting him to be QB1. But let's listen in on the whole deal. So we're gonna start around here. Now let me know. Okay, let me hold on one sec. Don't worry about nothing. Get this interview up for you guys. We're gonna go through. We're gonna listen to it, man. Terrence Graves gave out some insight into Southern, which I haven't heard before. I feel like Coach Graves doesn't give out much insight into what's going on in the program. I feel like a lot of times, like what's going on? I feel like a lot of times he's just trying to, he really wants. He's old school. When you got an old school coach, he not necessarily gonna give up the jewels that easy, right? He's not gonna necessarily like just tell you straight up what's going on. A lot of the old school coaches in today's age of football, at least, they not gonna tell you who's gonna be the starting quarterback until the day before. All right, and I've heard other coaches talk about this, and we can talk about little quarterbacks right now while I say all this stuff up. I've heard other coaches talk about how they deal with their quarterback battles. We got plenty of quarterback battles throughout HBCU football. If you want to talk about Alabama A&M and Quad Brown and Mekhi Higgins, right? Alabama A&M invites their starting quarterback, well, the guy you think will be a starting quarterback, Quad Brown, to SWAC Media Day. But you don't invite Mekhi Higgins, right? And that's still a battle that's ongoing as far as I know. I know that Bethune-Cookman also has a quarterback battle between Timmy McClain and Cam Ransom. Cam Ransom is a returner. Timmy McClain has been somewhat of a journeyman, going from, I think, UCF to USF and another school, and now back to Bethune-Cookman. So that's another quarterback battle. You have to assume that in some of these quarterback battles, the coach wants to he wants to find the starter sooner than later. You don't really want to take too much time trying to find a starter, whereas you want a team to react to your starter, and you want your receivers to know how the ball is coming out, know what type of quarterback they're dealing with behind center. I think the worst case in every quarterback battle, Pop Warner, high school, college, professional, is 100% a battle that isn't decided in training camp. If you are alternating quarterbacks through the season because you don't know which quarterback is better, you are in big trouble. Bigger trouble than you probably would even thought you would be in, because you want your team, just like your head coach, you want your team to somewhat embody somewhat of your quarterback, right? He should have some of the heart of your quarterback. Your quarterback is the leader on the field, whether he's vocal or not. He's the leader. He's the guy who's going to be out there every snap, which means in turn, what's the best way to put it? The quarterback is the most important position to decide on, because your team isn't only going to act like them or move like them. They're going to be rallied by them, right? You need a guy that's up there that knows what he's talking about, a guy that's going to lead his team out there. So, extremely, difficult position for a lot of these coaches to be in, I'm sure. But at the same time, it's so critical, you can't mess it up. So, we're going to get a chance to take a listen to Terrence Graves talk about his quarterback situation. Quick change right here. All right. All right, we're all set. So here we go. Let's take a listen.
Fair enough. Well, one thing we know about North Carolina Central, you return Walker Harris as a quarterback, QB1. That being the case, when you look at Southern, you talked about Kelby Givens. What's it going to take for the Eagles to emerge victorious here in Atlanta?
Yeah, first of all, we have to protect the football. And we have to win the kicking game and be efficient. Eagles can't beat Eagles, so whatever they get, we have to make them work for it. We can't come out here playing sloppy ball, getting a lot of penalties and foolishness like that. So just come in here, play within the framework of the game, and don't make it bigger than what it is.
Coach Oliver, give me give the fans 1 to 2 people that America needs to be made aware of when it comes to North Carolina Central football this season.
Dr. Kerry Dixon, our chancellor, Dr. Skip Perkins, my AD, 2 people that pay me.
Okay, beside on the field.
Okay, I'm
2
sorry.
people going to help you keep getting paid.
The main thing. Defensive end, Thomas Johnson, didn't play much last year, was banged up, only played in about 4 or 5 games, but he's a force to be reckoned with, defensive end. And then offensively, we don't have a whole lot of star power. We have a good football team, so I think I'm going to say our offensive line. I think our offensive line has performed well over the years, and we have those guys returning, so I'm excited to see what that unit does.
Coach Graves, 1 or 2 folks from Southern University we need to be made aware of.
Wide receiver, Darren Morris. I think he's going to have a breakout year. Young man who's grown tremendously, has worked, become a leader on and off the field. Excited about him, excited to see the maturation of growth that he displays on the field. And then, of course, Kelby Givens. He's our team leader on and off the field and in the community. As I said yesterday at the media day, everything that he's received, he's earned because he works every day to be better as a man, as a teammate, as a leader. So those are the 2 young men that we're excited about, and everyone needs to be paying attention to those 2 young men.
Absolutely, and I would say this, being a fan of HBCU football, I will give a special round of applause to Kelby Givens. He was just named preseason All-American, not just HBCU All-American, but preseason All-American for his.
Hey, and I'm going to say this, Kelby Givens is one of them. Kelby Givens, he one of them. You want to talk about somebody who might be in the league? It's Kelby Givens.
Diversity is my best tailgate. Love that tailgate there. I mean, you love it. But then I go to North Carolina. Y'all kind of hit me to that North Carolina barbecue. It had to grow on me. The vinegar had to grow on me there. So they do a good job. So we'll bring it all together. We'll kind of put it in the mesh pot when we get down here. Questions from the audience now. I'll start off with the young man in the hat there wearing the bush.
Dr. Cavill. Shout out Dr. Cavill, man. Great question.
I called you first to see if you're going to follow protocol. So let's be a good leader, Doc.
Hey, Adrian, I got you. I was just talking about Trey Holly. We're going to get into that. We're going to find some highlight tapes. You already know the deal.
Just answer this question. I am Dr. Cavill. I represent Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. So since Trey, you got me in trouble, I'm going to go to you and ask you this question. I want to stay off the field a little bit on the academic side. You and your football team and all those involved scored 1,000. Perfect score essentially for APR, which talks about the
Hold on. I don't know if y'all heard that. They said that North Carolina Central just scored 1,000 on their APR, man. Shout out to Trey Oliver, man. Trey Oliver, if it's one coach that's fixing a resume to be able to go to FBS school, kind of similar to what we saw at Willie Simmons, it's Trey Oliver, man. He is positioning himself to get not just get out of there, but to be a strong candidate for FBS position. Let's put it that way, right? If Gabe Guardonia, the head coach at Albany State, could go up, I think he's a coach at like Charlotte right now or one of them schools. If he could go up and do that from D2, Trey Oliver definitely can go get an FBS job. I don't see why not. So let's keep this followed up.
I think this past year there were 5 teams that did have a perfect score. We were the first HBCU to be able to accomplish that task. It starts with recruiting, and our motto is culture over scheme. It's about the young men that you recruit. It's so much more than that huddle film that you see. So we look at the guys academically, and we can teach them how to play football, but are they college student athletes? So once they get in, our academic support staff does an unbelievable job. We meet with them every Thursday, go through our at-risk guys, and coaches in the meeting texting about the assignments they have coming up. And it was a team effort between our academic support staff, Quadra Steele and his folks, and our coaches, and obviously the players. And now that they challenge each other. Our team's GPA is over 3.0, and when we can just worry about football and not chasing kids around, worry about them going to class, and everybody's eligible coming into summer school for the past 3 years. We don't use summer school to try to get eligible. We use it to get ahead. So our guys are graduating, and they're going to graduate school their senior years.
Talk that.
To me is a bigger accomplishment than winning a championship.
You're talking about retention right there.
Ms. Keisha.
Shout out to Miss Keisha Kelly too, though, man.
Keisha J. Kelly, Black College Experience. This question is for Coach Oliver. It's good to see you. My question is, you've been here before in 2018 and 2021, so you know what it takes to play under the big lights. How are you keeping those guys confident without them being so overexposed to the bright lights on a Saturday night?
Yes, ma'am. I was 21. I was here. We played Alcorn. 18. I was on the bluff with Jag Nation. So the big thing is we understand what's at stake, and we understand there's going to be a lot of eyes on us, but we don't make it bigger than what it is. This game is just like any other game. Our routine, our schedule, nothing changes. We don't practice any longer, any harder, anything like that. We have a routine that we follow, and we don't apply any added pressure to our young men. But they do know what's at stake, and they know how big of a game this is. So they'll be excited, and we just can't come out here and let the lights.
Froze on me. Hold on.
I guess get us concerned and worried.
Let me follow up on that question and ask Coach Graves this question. We know how much Southern University means to you, and it's a job you always wanted, and you've been there in so many capacities.
All right, let me skip forward a little bit. Talk about some other stuff too. So North Carolina Central apparently got a bunch of new coaches right now, and Coach Oliver is going to talk about it around here, I think.
I don't have a scheme or a philosophy that we're going to throw the ball 50 times, we're going to run it 50 times. Whatever it takes to win the football game, that's what we do. So, when you look at the stats and you're trying to say, you're looking to see if we're going to throw for 500 yards, if we can run the football, we're going to run the football. And if we have to throw the football, we'll throw the football. So we're a balanced attack, but we're going to always do whatever we need to do to win the football game and put ourselves in position to win the football game.
Right here behind.
To my left.
Right here.
Yeah.
Jamie Walker, HBCU Wired.
My boy.
This is Coach Oliver. You've had a lot of staff losses over the offseason. Talk about how the new staff have come in and kind of infused your message in the culture of Eagle football.
Well, you said it right there. It's about the culture. And, you're going to have turnover. I think when you've been successful, folks are going to come poach your players and coaches. So, yes, we did lose 4 coaches this offseason, and we won't skip a beat. You know, it's about the culture. So as long as you hire good people, football is football. So they'll come in, they see my vision, they follow my vision, and you know, we pick up where we left off. But I don't foresee that being an issue at all. That wasn't a concern at all for me.
And speaking of coaching, you know, North Carolina Central legend Davis Pee Wee Richard has now joined your coaching staff. How's he been as a coach, first-time coach? We know what he did on the football field. He was legendary. How's his transition going into coaching?
I mean, outstanding. He's a very smart young man, and you know, all y'all have seen Pee Wee Davis Richard, and he did so much for our university and put us on a national stage. And he had an opportunity to leave. People tried to come get him and pay him a whole lot of money, and he stayed committed to me and our program. And so when, you know, we talk about the recruiting process and what we're going to do, and we're going to take care of you, take care of you. You know, a lot of folks say that, but at the end of the day, like, that kid got hurt and had to medically retire and whatever, but had to medically retire.
Hey, hold on. No, hold on. Hold on. When was they finna tell us that Davius Richard medically retired? Like, I didn't see HBCU News post that. I didn't see nobody. Like, I feel like this news was just released with this little interview right here. Because I didn't know that. So you mean to tell me, hold on, man. You mean to tell me that Davius Richards' injury in the HBCU Legacy Bowl ended his career? I didn't know that, man. I really didn't know that, man. Super interesting, man. I am happy that Central was able to retain him on the staff and he's coaching with them, but I really had no idea that that was a thing. For Central also, they're gonna have a not an issue. He seems like he handled it pretty well. But North Carolina Central is such a good team, such a strong program. Losing coaches, that is gonna be regular for him. You know, we'll see later on in the TC Taylor interview. Shout out to KC 4800, or not, KC 1400. I'm sorry. Shout out to KC 1400. They did a good interview with Coach TC, and Coach TC also broke down how he had a little bit of trouble over tension as far as his coaches. You know, because just point blank period, you're bringing in high power coaches. You know, they go to Central, go to Jackson, win 8, 9 games, 10 games. And they get a bigger look after that. You can't really hate on them for it, so it's kind of like something that just happens. But this dude Trey Holly, though, right? Adrian talking about him. Hold on. Let me see. That's not Trey. Trey Holly. Let's see. So this dude Trey Holly, apparently he just transferred. We don't got nothing there. I'm gonna have to pull up on Twitter real quick. Hold on, don't worry about nothing. But apparently, though,
he had an opportunity to leave people.
Sorry about that. Apparently, this dude Trey Holly just transferred up from LSU to Southern. From LSU to Southern, right? And apparently, he's practicing already. Like. I don't know if he transferred yesterday. I don't know if he transferred today. But I got something to show y'all. Don't worry about nothing. So we're going to do this. There we go. All right, so here's Trey Holly, right? So let me go ahead and throw this on the screen for y'all. Oh, now hold on. I'll pause that. All right, so here's Trey Holly, man. This is a little news clipping about it. Let's see the boy. Oh, that's not nothing. All right, this is the news clipping. My bad.
Well, he got enrolled in school, and so we're going to give him an opportunity to work out here. And, you know, he paid his way, got admitted in school, and we're gonna give him an opportunity to be a part of our program. Let's just see what he does. You know, give him an opportunity. Don't put a whole lot of added pressure, extra pressure on him. Just be the young man that he is, and we know him as.
All right, so that's kind of like it from the little news, the news clipping. This is I think it's like highlights. I didn't get a chance to look at this. Let's watch together though. Wait, hold on. What the hell? The boy jumping over people? Hold on. Hey. I ain't gonna lie, I like that. Oh, so he agile. He kind of short, but he agile though. That might be nasty. Man, Southern, man. One thing about it, Southern just attracts talent. He's all right. These look like high school highlights though, but he's all right. I mean, I don't know how old. I don't know if these highlights is 4 years old or not. That'd make a hell of a difference. Got it there. There you go. Yeah, that boy do a lot of jumping. I wonder if he still do all this jumping. Good acceleration on him, though. I'll tell you that. Yeah. I kind of like him, man. I'm not going to lie. These highlights look good. I need to, let's figure out some background on the boy. I see enough highlights, man. I see enough. You could go. He could go. That's a fact. So, this is it. Trey Holly. My bad. You can't see everything, but this, you can't even get up there. But, this is the boy. What we about to do right now, man? Hold on. Let's see. So, what's going on? How old is he? Has he played before? I haven't looked up nothing. Trey Holly. LSU. How long has he been at LSU, Adrian? Louisiana first, got something on him. All right, former LSU running back Trey Holly joins Southern. All right, got you. What else we got? Baton Rouge. Trey Holly was spotted in a uniform at Southern University first fall camp. Holly was a member of LSU the last 2 seasons, but was, hold on, did my mic shut off? I still got me and make sure. I think I had a little power outage or something. But like I was saying, Holly was a member of LSU Tigers last 2 seasons, but indefinitely suspended by the team after he was charged with attempted second-degree murder. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Second-degree murder heading into his sophomore year. That charge was later dropped, but he is still facing charges of illegal weapon use. Of illegal use of a weapon and aggravated criminal damage to property. Holly missed the whole 2024 season due to suspension. During Holly's time at Union Parish High School, he broke the state's all-time rushing record with 10,523 yards. He signed with LSU. Let me move my face so y'all can see this a little bit better. My bad. Because what is going on right now, man? What? During his time at Parish High School, he broke the state's all-time rushing record with 10,523 yards. He signed with LSU as a number 4 running back in his class. Oh, okay. Okay. That's why he showed up first day of camp like, what's up, can I play football? All right, got it. Huh. Well, I think he was acquitted though, right? He was acquitted. As long as the brother didn't do it, right? That's what it seems like. That's why he showed up first day of camp. Okay. Let me turn this light on real quick. Hold on, man. Murder? They accused the boy of murder? That's what's going on here. And he shows up. Okay, is there? What they got? I think they had a news video. The advertisement going. Let me get past that real quick. But it's murder. That okay. Okay, that's why he's not at LSU right now. That's basically what you're telling me, right? That's why he's not at LSU. Other than that, that's the only reason why he's not there. Yo, what? We're gonna see. Once this little advertisement finishes, we're gonna see if we can watch this little news clipping. We're gonna see.
On his plant.
All right, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna get the screen right for y'all, cause we gotta get to the bottom of this, y'all. I'm not gonna front. I was wondering how, why you just popping up the first day of camp? Makes sense. Make a ton of sense now. Makes a ton of sense. I'm gonna get the screen right for you. Don't worry about nothing. Do that. Oh, that's the top. Yeah. Let's do that. What you saying in the chat, man? No NIL. Southern is desperate, huh? Yeah. Yeah. If I had to call him something, I probably would call him desperate right here in this position. I'm not gonna lie, cause like, what are we doing right now? I'm a little lost on, you losing me a little bit, Southern. All right, so this thing like all the way at the top of the page, man. Y'all making it hard for me. All right, y'all just listen to it for right now, man. I'm fixing
far, but we thought he was getting back on track there at LSU. The running back who had shattered the all-time Louisiana high school rushing record signed with LSU, of course. Then Holly was arrested for charges that he maintained was false. He maintained his innocence. He's still awaiting that trial after it's been pushed back one more time in the court system. And then tonight, our cameras were surprised to find him.
Wait. Adrian, you said that they figured it out, bro. Hold on. Hey, look, I believe you, brother, but also the white man just said it's going through another new, well, hold on, what?
For charges that he maintained was false. He maintained his innocence. He's still awaiting that trial after it's been pushed back one more time in the.
So the trial's been pushed back. Hold on. But the article says, am I not reading this right? Let me know, y'all. That charge, okay. He was suspended by a team after he was charged with attempted second-degree murder after heading to his sophomore year. That charge was later dropped. But he's facing, okay, so now he's still facing the charges of illegal use of a weapon and aggravated criminal damage to property. So he still is waiting, though. Like, he's not charged with murder right now. Hold on, let me see if I can try to show y'all a little bit. Because it got real small on me. But 2024, 10,000 yards. All right, so that charge was later dropped. But he is still facing, it's a little zoomed in, I'm sorry. That charge was later dropped. But he is still facing charges of illegal use of a weapon and aggravated criminal damage to property. And oh boy just said he's waiting trial on that. That just got pushed back. So while Trey Holly is waiting on trial, he is at Southern practicing with these boys. That's what we doing, Southern? That's how we coming? That's fancy. Let's listen to what the white man said, man. That's fancy.
System. And then tonight, our cameras were surprised to find him on Southern's practice field. He's still listed on LSU's website as on the LSU roster. So we asked for an explanation from Southern head coach Terrence Graves.
Well, he got enrolled in school, and so we're going to give him an opportunity to work out here. And he paid his way, got admitted in school, and we're gonna give him an opportunity to be a part of our program. And let's just see what he does. Give him an opportunity. Don't put a whole lot of added pressure, extra pressure on him. Just be the young man that he is, and we know him as.
Hey, how far is LSU and Southern? Like, is he on the run? That's why he doing this? But like, if you know for a fact that you're waiting trial, why are you doing anything involved with football right now? You must know that you ain't going to jail. you just must know that you not doing no type of time, no nothing. If you feel like you can await trial, and while you're awaiting trial, you go practice with Southern for a little bit. You know what I mean? Let me go work on my plays. You feel me? I've been working on my footwork. Graves said it was cool. Wow. 10 minutes away. Yeah, you're not really on the run. He in plain sight with it. Wow. That's all I can say is wow, man. I would just want to provide an update to y'all that Southern got a new running back. Come to find out, the running back is awaiting trial for illegal use of a weapon, and aggravated criminal damage to property. And it's the same reason why he didn't play at LSU last year. It's funny like that in the hood sometimes. We got plenty of other stuff to talk about, though. I'll tell you that. Let's get into this. We got a couple interviews. Tennessee State got an interview going on. And we're going to talk a little bit about Tennessee State. They got a lot going on, okay? Toriano Morgan is flipped over there from Edward Waters out of nowhere. So that's something to make note of. But aside from that, we have a coach returning to the HBCU ranks and Reggie Barlowe. So Reggie Barlowe was I guess the Big South OVC Media Day was like online or something. So he hopped on there and had a good interview, very good interview. My bad about that. A very good interview. And he talked about a couple different things. One thing, he talked about the predicted order of finish, and he also talked about where the program is like today. You know, what it looks like for Tennessee State today, which I think is a pretty big deal, to be honest. So let me get the screen together for y'all. Skip that. Because really, with Reggie Barlowe, you gotta think like, okay, everything is pretty much in front of him. You look at the Tennessee State team that just came off a playoff run. They lose a lot. They lose a lot to the portal. I'll be the first to tell you, they lose a lot to the portal. I think he said that they only return around four starters from last year. And I mean, shit, that's tough. Like, you good, Mud? Because what? 4 starters coming back? No way. From a playoff team? So a lot of people hit the portal. But let's see what he got to say. We're going to start up around here, start being some of the good stuff, right? Yeah, around 10. All right, so let's take a listen, y'all.
You're doing a little bit more pro style. What kind of offense are you putting in?
Yeah, so, our offense, Coach Shannon Harris, being our offense coordinator, obviously Coach of the Year with the DC Defenders, who's worked with myself and other people on staff for extended period of time. It'll be our offense. Obviously, it'll fit the student athletes that we have, but we're going to run the ball. I'm not going to say we want to run the ball. We're going to run the ball and establish the run, and then obviously be able to play with some pace and spread the ball out, right? Stretch them wide, stretch them deep. And
hold on, man. I'm gonna tell you right now, the boy not too exciting. I'll tell you off the back, man. It's like, dang, I mean, where the youthfulness in this?
To make plays from there.
Now, you mentioned Coach Harris and you mentioned a lot of your assistants. Has Coach Keiss decided to retire, or where do you stand with Coach Keiss?
Man, Coach Keiss is my guy. He will always be my guy. As long as I have a job, he has a job. Right now, Keiss is spending time with the wife and the dogs. He got one dog, his dogs that he care about so much. So he's spending time there. We're connected. We talk, on a regular basis, and he just, after going through a season over at in the UFL, a tough season, highs and lows. He did an amazing job of dialing it up. So we'll have access to Coach Keiss' mind and all the things that he do.
Thank you.
Coach Mark Simpson with the
thing froze. Boy, a little boring, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, but he talked about his staff. That's really what I wanted to get at. So really, what Barlowe is building, he's building a different type of program. He's building a program that I think really is gonna be all about coaching these kids up, right? All about beating guys, in the trenches. What I say, trenches. I think that this team, because they weren't able to acquire the amount of talent they need to really compete in a lot of these games, we're going to see a lot of defensive games, a lot of slow games from Tennessee State. It's not going to be the high-flying Tennessee State we've kind of seen the past couple of years with a lot of scoring. I think up to this point now, we're watching a much different Tennessee State program, a program that is now transitioning into a new era. I really think that the Eddie George era, what everybody said about celebrity coaches and what they can and can't do, it worked. Like, it 100% worked. And, you know, the one thing that's really working against Tennessee State right now, you got to say, it's the fact that Tennessee State has a playoff caliber schedule right now. Like, if we can pull up their schedule, take a look at Tennessee. I'm going to get back to this interview, too. But if we can go to the schedule, let me see. They played North Dakota State this year, y'all. They have no business playing North Dakota State. Let me see, man. So, Tennessee State football. Check out the schedule out. All right. So, I'll move myself out the way real quick. Take a look at the schedule before we finish this little interview. See what they got. So, Tennessee State. You got North Carolina A&T up week 1. I'm going to give that win to Tennessee State. Tonight, I'll give it to Tennessee State. So, that's 1-0. North Dakota State, 1-1. That's a loss. Alabama A&M, another loss, 1-2. Tennessee Tech, you should be able to beat them. Not going to lie. Let's give them a win, right? Is that 2-2? Let's go Eastern Illinois, lost 2-3. SEMO, lost 2-4. Howard, that's a win, 3-4. Western Illinois, that's a loss, 3-5. Lindenwood, you can win that game. I would say 4-5. UT Martin, that's a loss, 4-6. Gardner-Webb, 4-7. Charleston Southern, that's where Gabe Gardone is. I got that as a win, right? So maybe finish 5-6 on a high note. That's me expecting this team to still be competitive, right? Even with their little measly 4 starters. Okay? To put things lightly, Tennessee State, man, it's rebuild time. It's rebuild. You're not reloading, you're rebuilding. And there's nothing wrong with that. A healthy rebuild is good for a football program. So let's go back to this quick little interview. Take a look at what else Coach Barlowe had to say, because at the end of the day, Coach Barlow's building a very strong program. Tennessee State, man, it's rebuild time. It's rebuild. You're not reloading, you're rebuilding. And there's nothing wrong with that. A healthy rebuild is good for a football program. So let's go back to this quick little interview. I'm hearing myself right now. Take a look at what else Coach Barlowe had to say, because at the end of the day, Coach Barlow's building a very strong program. Tennessee State, man, it's rebuild time. It's rebuild. You're not reloading, you're rebuilding. And there's nothing wrong with that. A healthy rebuild is good for a football program. So let's go back to this quick little interview. Take a look at what else Coach Barlowe had to say. Boom, boom. What you in there talking about, Adrian? What's the boy Adrian talking about, man? Kelly, you never been to LSU. It's nice as hell. It's like in the middle of, it's just in the middle of Boosie's hood. Hey, man, ain't nothing wrong with the hood. I'll tell you this, USC is in the hood. You know where 4 Extra from? USC in the middle of 4 Extra hood. So I'll tell you, ain't nothing. But the fact that your boy got aggravated assault and all this other stuff is pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. The fact that a running back of that caliber is in that situation is pretty outlandish. I ain't gonna lie. But the only question I really have about that situation is why, how he even got on the team. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't know how this man got on that team. Let's get rid of this. So let's finish this interview up. This will be Barlowe. All right.
Spread the ball out, right? Stretch them wide, stretch them deep, and be able to make plays from there.
Right, so let's go over to. We talked about predicted order.
You mentioned Coach Harris and Coach. You mentioned a lot of your assistants. Has Coach Kais decided to retire?
Have
Galactus asks too hot.
I just look. Yes, we'll watch it after. Walk on and try out, man. I'm not letting this dude walk. Everybody can't walk onto my team, Adrian. That's the thing. You can't let everybody walk onto the team. That sets a dangerous precedent.
The teammates We want to be good students. We want to be good people on our campus. And we believe those 5 core characteristics, that's what we've lived by since I've been a head coach. And since I was a player, kind of lived by those things. And they paid great dividends for us.
Great. Thank you, Coach. Good luck this season.
Thank you, Mark.
Probably should have asked this coach at the very beginning, but like when the coach, this job came open, what was it? What made you say this is the right spot for me?
Kyle, this is Tennessee State University. I've always admired this university from afar and always thought, what a great place. And the history and tradition that I thought I knew, when I got here and really saw it and heard it and hearing people talk about it, it's an amazing place. It's in a great city. You have the bells and whistles, the things that you need here. And even for the stuff that I felt like I know, Coach Gruden did something on Twitter yesterday talking about Tennessee State. And I mean, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Oprah Winfrey, Tennessee State, man. Too Tall Jones, big Joe Gillum, right? I mean, it's a very rich in tradition place, and we want to embrace that. We want to have all of those former players and guys that was here to be a part of what we got going on, and it's just it's a wonderful place.
Even though I'm the one that tallies the votes and coordinates the preseason poll, we know in this day and age it's hard to vote in them. You all were picked 8th. Just talk about that, and I'm sure the unknowns go into that. But what did you think of the preseason poll?
It's cute. It's cute. Yeah, it's cute. But it is what it is. I mean, obviously, the people who voted on that stuff, I'm sure they had a lot of thoughts that they had to think about. But we're not strangers to this. We were at Alabama State. We were picked in a similar situation, ended up playing for the championship. At Virginia State, we were in a similar situation, got the job kind of late, picked low, ended up going 9-2. And then when we got the job up at the UFL for the DC Defenders, same type situation, picked at the bottom, played for the championship, Warner North. So we're no stranger to that. We respect everybody that vote and pick, but we understand that the game is won on the rectangle in between the white lines, and we're looking forward to getting a chance to get on the rectangle and see how we measure up.
It's funny, earlier Coach Took from SEMO said,
all right, man. So the boy was popping it a little bit. He popped it a little bit. He I think he called it cute and everything. I mean, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm not that convinced right now in Tennessee State. I wouldn't bet on this team at all at this point this season. We're gonna get back into them parlays too, y'all. Don't worry about nothing. This season we coming back full force. We just warming up right now. But I'm not gonna put Tennessee State in none of my parlays this year. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. At least not yet. We'll see after a couple weeks. Like after North Dakota State, after North Carolina A&T, they find a way to win there. You're building momentum. You feel me? Now I might start, okay, maybe y'all can win some games. Because week two, when North Dakota State come to town, it's over. Don't even, play hard, don't get hurt, get ready for week 3. Bounce back. So I'm not very bullish on Tennessee State, but I respect the fact that they made a very good hire and going to pick up Coach Reggie Barlowe. So that's not the only coach they picked up, right? It was this very controversial thing that just happened. Toriano Morgan, the former coach for Edward Waters, made this big controversial move. He made this big controversial move, and he went on over to Tennessee State, right? And it wasn't that he just went to Tennessee State. He went to Tennessee State 1 day after the SWAC Media Day. The man was literally wearing an Edward Waters. Hold on, man. Hold on, man. We all saw on the other late show. He was literally wearing Edward Waters gear 24 hours before he picked up a job at Tennessee State. And through the night, me and the boys, we hopped on Twitter, X. We was talking about Toriano Morgan, what's going on, let's figure it out. And everybody had different ideas of what could have happened and why Toriano Morgan went to Tennessee State. There were some people that theorized that Coach Morgan was getting more money at Tennessee State to be a coordinator than he could make as a head coach at Edward Waters, which is seeming to be untrue. And there was another narrative, a narrative that I kind of subscribe to, that says that Toriano Morgan got pushed out of Edward Waters. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't think Toriano Morgan wanted to leave Edward Waters. Straight up. Hey, he can say what he want to say, and we're going to look at this interview and see what's going on, right? He going to tell us what he feels. But I do not think that Toriano Morgan wanted to leave Edward Waters. I think that Toriano Morgan got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. I think that a lot of these coaches put their names into different hats and things in the offseason during the coaching carousel. And in Tennessee State's point of view, they started this whole coaching carousel very late. Tennessee State didn't hire Reggie Barlowe until almost like the beginning of the summer. I want to say his hiring may have been in June, right? Whereas you got a coach like at A&T, Sean Gibbs, gets hired way back in maybe February, January, right? He gets a whole spring to work with. So in terms, when you give Reggie Barlowe the team in June, a lot of coaches have already been hired. A lot of coaches have already gone through their different part of the coaching carousel, and they have settled in their places. At this point, what Coach Barlowe has to do is pick from either other coaching staffs or his UFL coaching staff. And he did that bringing in Coach Shannon, right? Coach Shannon was the head coach of the XFL Defenders, interim coach, got them to a championship, won them a championship, but still decided to come back and be the offensive coordinator at Tennessee State, right? Simple pipeline. For this move, though, Coach Barlowe or Tennessee State will 100% had to get in touch with Coach Morgan, right, under the table or somehow, same way they had to get in touch with anybody else to try to take this job. So, quite honestly, I feel like Coach Morgan got caught trying to talk to other people. Because there's no way, to me, there's no way you leave Edward Waters after building them for the last 4 years. You got to understand, Edward Waters was an NAIA program. They went to go play Jackson State for the first Deion Sanders game. Deion Sanders' home game at Jackson State was against Edward Waters. Toriano Morgan was the coach. He has been program building this team for years. They just built a new field like 2 years ago with from the help of the city and the school. They came together to make this recreation field, turf field, full bleachers, collegiate, Division II stadium. He was in this for the long haul. I don't think that he was looking for a way out this whole time. I think that Coach Morgan really liked his job at Edward Waters and really saw a promise in it. They beat Tuskegee about a year ago. And Albany State. He received a raise for that. We're going to take a look at this interview. We're going to figure out what's really going on in this situation. But I think it's something up, man. I really do. I think it's something up.
ECU game day, and we are here with Coach.
Let me get this right for y'all.
Toriano Morgan, who just left Edward Waters University, and he's heading home.
Did he leave or get kicked out? That's the question.
To his alma mater at Tennessee State University. It's the dream of every coach to be able to help your alma mater, so it's no surprise after it all shook out. There was quite some confusion when it first happened this close to the season. But, Coach, how are you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing good. You know, the last 48 hours has been 100 miles an hour each day, so a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that got to get done, and, you know, it's just time to move forward.
Now, I just want to clear one thing up from the beginning. Obviously, without the understanding that your situation in Tennessee State had not been resolved yet, you obviously couldn't speak on it at the time. So when you resigned, there was a lot of questions, and the obvious came up, and you and I had talked about this. The obvious that came up was some dissension at Edward Waters, that there was something you weren't happy about, which is the reason that you left, until it became clear to everyone that the opportunity to go to Tennessee State University, that's a step in the ultimate direction of probably every college coach. So just talk about your time at Edward Waters.
All right, so let me dispel any of the rumors. Edward Waters gave me the first opportunity to be a collegiate head coach, and they have been nothing but outstanding to me and my family as far as allowing me to come in and to work alongside with them as colleagues, as partners, to give me the innovation to continue to grow that program to the level of which it is now, and it's going to continue to grow. So I forever am grateful to Dr. Faison, Dr. Bryant, who was the AD there, and then ultimately Dr. Rich, who's now currently the athletic director there. So my time there, was an opportunity that allowed me to grow as a coach, as a person, to serve young men, and just to do it at a high level. So there's never a perfect time for a situation like this to happen. Unfortunately, it did happen, big.
All right, I'm not gonna lie. He sounded real sorry, like apologetic right here. It sounds like a real apologetic. Like, I'm just thinking about the interview. This sounds really apologetic to say about a school that you were cool with leaving and it was all good and you shook hands and just left. Like, you putting a lot. I don't know. This is me thinking.
To the season, which again, that had a lot to do with weighing in on the decision, but ultimately it was an opportunity to get back to the place that gave me my start, that gave me the education. I spent a lot of great years there at Tennessee State, in that football program. Both of my degrees are from there, both my master's and my bachelor's. So to get back to the opportunity to serve Tennessee State, because it's done so much for me, was just the ultimate opportunity for me.
Now, Coach, you did something unconventional at Edward Waters. Sometimes when a coach comes in, they want to make sure that they're the guy in charge and nobody is considered the guy in charge but them. You can't have two head coaches. But you brought in an experienced former head coach to be your offensive coordinator in Brian Jenkins, who, in afterthought, you actually left Edward Waters in a good position now because, this close to the season, you don't have to do a big search.
I mean, come on. Now, it's like now we're trying to play into like, okay, we didn't do Edward Waters too crazy. We just left a couple weeks before the season. It wasn't too bad. Like, I love the team and they love me, but, do you understand the position you put Edward Waters in right now? Look, sure, Brian Jenkins, great coach. He was a great coach at Bethune-Cookman in 2013. Sure. But I'm sure all these players wanted to play for Toriano Morgan. You've been here for 5 years. You recruited everybody. They coming to play for you, sir. We can sugarcoat it and go, oh, man, but at least they got Brian Jenkins. Oh, yeah, sure, at least but who recruited the players? Who talked to the parents? Who's sending emails all through the summer? Who's checking grades? It's Toriano Morgan, the head coach. So, yeah, oh, sure, we didn't leave him in too bad a shape. That's why this really feels like, to me, the boy got the boot. He got the boot. He found a place. He got caught with his hand in a cookie jar. Luckily, it was at his alma mater. And I really feel like he went to go get the offensive coordinator job at Tennessee State and didn't get it. Let's put it all out there. I feel like he went for that offensive coordinator job because I don't know nobody signed up to go be a co-offensive coordinator. I don't know nobody looking to go be a passing game coordinator. Yeah, I just want to talk about the routes. Let's talk about route combinations and receivers all day. No, you want to be the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator. You want to run the offense, run the defense. So here's what I think happened before we get into all this little, I don't know, I don't know what they're trying to do right here. I think that Coach Morgan went to go interview for Tennessee State offensive coordinator job that's been open for about a month or two. I think Coach Shannon been the leading guy for Tennessee State to be the offensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator. I think they had to actually do a search, check for other guys. So they did that. They did a search just because. I think Toriano Morgan went in there thinking it was going to be a fair shot. He'll go be the offensive coordinator if he gets a good look. I think that Tennessee State still went with Coach Shannon. Realized Coach Morgan couldn't go back to Edward Waters and took him in. Simple as that.
You have a head coach on
We believe education should hold.
I'm going to go a little forward, a little farther. But, yeah, and I don't think this is just I just want to take this opportunity because I can.
Be all in the room. One thing I said about the coaching staff that I put together, I did want yes men.
He's talking about staff right here.
But there was a lot of experience. Coach Jenkins was one that probably had the ultimate success as a head coach of the other coaches on the staff. But in hindsight, there are 4 other coaches on that staff that have served in head coaching capacities. So the strategic thought behind that was there's more than one way to skin a cat, and just to be able to have different perspectives on how to do it ultimately translates into the goal of what we all wanted, that was to win.
Okay, so last season, Tennessee State had their breakout year under Eddie George. I mean, won the conference, won a playoff game, just had an amazing season last year. So it's no surprise that when there was a little hiccup with the administration and what the relationship was going to be with athletics, that he did decide to take the job at Bowling Green. But now it seems like things are resolved in Tennessee and things are smoother. And in comes Reggie Barlowe, straight from winning the championship. And so when he made the call to you about being on the staff, what was your thought?
Well, Coach Barlowe and I have worked together previously at Virginia State University. So, again, I was honored, of course, and I knew from when he accepted the position that winning was going to be right around the corner, because if you look at his track record, everywhere he goes, he doesn't just win, he wins championships. So, when the conversation started, it was very, very honored. I was honored, firstly, to have even been considered, and then, to have the position able to work itself out in the manner in which it did, to come on as the co-offensive coordinator and running backs coach back at Tennessee State, was a great opportunity that I just couldn't pass up.
There are a lot of steps that different coaches, each coach has their own path of getting to what they ultimately would like to. Do you feel that this opportunity brings you closer to what your aspirations are as a head coach?
Yes, I definitely believe it does. Conversations that I've always had was that my ultimate goal is to be the head coach of HBCU Division I program. So, the timing has to be right, and I got to pay my dues. And you gotta matriculate.
Let me tell you this. Let's put it like this, right? The other coaches in the SIAC, the head coaches at least, that leave. Got Coach Gabe down at Albany State, right? He had Albany State rocking. They went to like 3 straight SIAC titles. He went to Coach Charleston, University of Charleston. That's Division I head coach. Went from D2 to Division I head coach. Okay? Got Coach Chennis Berry. He's coach at Benedict. Won like 2 straight SIAC championships. Went to the playoffs. Won a bunch of games. Went on to coach at South Carolina State. That's Division I. That's a head coaching job. Coach Sean Gibbs, coached at Fort Valley State for the past 3 or 4 years. Won about 7 to 8 games every year. Has some very talented players. Went on to coach at North Carolina A&T. That's a Division I HBCU program as a head coach. You cannot tell me that from Edward Waters, the best you can do is the co-offensive coordinator at Tennessee State. You can't tell me that. I don't think anybody can get me to believe that. You're a program builder. Program builder. I'm not saying he should be a Division I head coach. I'm saying a co-offensive coordinator, you barely the coordinator. You might not even be calling plays. You might be in the booth spotting. Not too much of a move up for me. So when I hear Coach Morgan say that his dream is to always be a Division I head football coach, and you feel like this is the way to get there, brother, there had to be better steps. I'm not going to lie. Brother, there got to be a better way. There got to be a better way. I don't see it. Because if Coach Shannon, the offensive coordinator, is probably the closest thing to the head coach over there, where do you think that leaves you? How much power do you think he has as offensive coordinator now? I really don't see it. We're going to try to finish to watch the next of these. We got like 2 minutes left.
Coaching ranks. When the time comes, the time comes. But, right now I'm focused on being the best offensive coordinator at Tennessee State and to propel and serve Coach Barlowe in the manner in which I know he deserves to get served to have the vision for that program reach this ultimate goals of winning sooner than later, continuing to win, building on the championship that they won last season.
Well, Tennessee State will go into the Ohio Valley Conference with a target on their back this year, unlike several years before. Have you and Barlowe and the coaches that are still talked about going into the Ohio Valley Conference this year, and what you all would like to see out of the team this year?
Yes, I hadn't made it up there to any of the staff meetings as of yet, but I do understand the plan. They've been working through the OTAs and walkthroughs and everything. So it's a process. So we're going to kick off training camp next week, and then you just gotta build it brick by brick. We got to make sure that we put together the right personnel, put it in the right places. Understand that the kids are understanding what we're asking of them. Coaching staff, make sure that we're all on the same page. Very dynamic coaching staff.
All right, man, it's a bunch of jibber jabber right now. He ain't even been there yet. I don't know what he's talking about. All right, so, that's Tennessee State, the little saga. We talked a little bit about Reggie Barlowe, and then we talked about Toriano Morgan and his move. Let me go ahead and change this up a little bit for y'all. I'm going to get back into this now. I want to talk about this Alcorn State quarterback situation. There was a little bit of talk about it. It took for an Alcorn guy to get it out the Alcorn guy. I'll say that. It took for Alcorn Sports to get it out of Coach Said, what's going on a little bit. At least, like, what's going on underneath the hood at Alcorn. I feel like Alcorn is probably one of the quietest spots in HBCU football when it comes to, like, letting information get out. And I feel like they just can't help it. So let's get into it. So Coach Said got some cool things to say. I want to give a big shout out. I think this is Alcorn State Sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Braves head football coach Cedric Thomas.
All right, so they don't talk about nothing until about 4 minutes, though. Let's go ahead and get to that.
We're so far ahead of the curve, from that standpoint. But
how is that transition coming, and how's the quarterback position coming?
It's awesome to see his body when he came back a couple weeks ago. He lost about 10 pounds. Been working with it standpoint, and so
one of the big stories. It's a bunch of them, but offensively.
To my sound, hold on. Give me a second. Don't worry about nothing. Restart the page real quick.
Been working with it, with a wide out trainer. You could just tell the difference in his functional movement pattern at the position. Hard enough to where they deserve to know what that feel like, and so that's our journey, and that's what we want to do. So it'll forever be indebted in our brain, and we definitely see him again.
Well, when you look at this season, obviously one of the big stories. It's a bunch of them, but offensively, coming out of the spring, You know, this time last year we were talking about Tyler Macon, right, as the quarterback. We're going to ride with Mako. And then in the spring, obviously, he had a good spring game as wide receiver. How is that transition coming, and how's the quarterback?
Y'all didn't hear that? Tyler Macon is now a full-time wide receiver. It's going down.
Coming.
You know, it's awesome to see his body when he came back a couple weeks ago. You know, he lost about 10 pounds. Been working with it, you know, with a wide-out trainer. You could just tell the difference in his functional movement pattern at the position. We're really excited about that, you know. And then just watching Trey and Jalen and even Dre, you know, kind of compete after, you know, the spring and see them going into the summer with a lot of retention, man. It just, you know, it's refreshing. We're so far ahead of the curve, you know, from that standpoint. But also when you look at the weapons that's on the edge that they'll be able to get the football to, and the two tackles that's going to help protect them, you know, you're really excited. We're a better football club, you know, right now. Still got a lot of work to do, but we did work, you know, with a lesser talented ball club, and we had a chance every game besides that one, you know, at the end of the year. And I foresee it to be the exact same way. And so these kids going to work, but we definitely got some bigger and better pieces to be able to help us get over the hump.
So Trey Lawrence. Who were the other two?
Jalen Tobert, you know, the transfer from Howard. You know, he had a really good spring, really good summer. He's in grinding now. And then Andre Washington, the transfer from Charlotte.
Interesting quarterback room right there, y'all. Which I think I got a pen up over here somewhere. Hold on. It's a marker, but that'll work. I got no sheet of paper though. Hold on. You gotta write that down. They got a very interesting quarterback room down there at Alcorn. So they got Trey Lawrence. That's a returner. Let me write that down. Trey Lawrence. You bring in Jalen Tobert, who was a quarterback at Howard. If you don't remember last year at Howard, their starting quarterback, Jason Scroggins, got hurt. And Jalen Tobert had to come in and play. And he played exceptionally well. And then we got one more guy.
That's just competing at a high level right now, but with Trey and Jalen from Charlotte. Those are the three. Good summer. He's in grinding now. And then Andre Washington, the transfer from Charlotte.
And then you got Andre Washington. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the same Andre Washington that played at South Carolina State. He was there for the year when Corey Fields was still starting at quarterback. And he transferred the year Chance Berry came in last year. I believe he went to Charlotte then. So now he's back down at Alcorn. So I'll be the first to tell you, Alcorn now has a reputable quarterback. I'm not going to front with you. If Jalen Tobert's a guy, they have a reputable quarterback. If Trey Lawrence is a guy, if Andre Washington is a guy, all three of these guys definitely can sling the rock. So, you know, within 1 year, we see Coach Said knows how to find a quarterback. Some coaches still have – look at Graves at Southern. Has he found a quarterback? You know, a lot of these coaches – look at Bethune-Cookman. Have they found a quarterback? In year 2, Coach Said has found a way to find starting caliber quarterbacks in the SWAC. Good to see. Very good to see. So let's rewind a little bit and we'll play it through.
Who were the other two?
Jalen Tobert, you know, the transfer from Howard. You know, he had a really good spring, really good summer. He's in grinding now. And then Andre Washington, the transfer from Charlotte. Those are the three that's just competing at a high level right now. But with Trey and Jalen, they kind of got the nod right now. And Dre is kind of pushing up the rear. But you know how camp is, you know, injuries and everything else. You know, the days are old is just playing one quarterback. And so all of them got to be ready. But we definitely feel good about that room, but even better about the guys that they got opportunity to get the football to.
So right now, is it safe to say the competition continues at that position?
Yeah, most definitely. You know, and you know, if I see one of those guys feel like they leading in the head, you know, I'm gonna make that decision.
In the backfield, we're going to talk with Sewell coming up. How do you feel about Sewell and how he's looked in your backfield overall?
You know, my thing with Sewell is, like I told him personally, you know, it's just individually, how can we help him get to the NFL? We owe him that. He's been around, and then he got to help himself. He got to stay on that jug machine and catch the football better. You know, he got to continue to work on his pass pro. But he left a little meat on the bone too. You know, he get caught the Valley game. He missed a jump cut against Southern. He missed one against Jackson. And so all that makes a difference, you know, for us to be able to help him get to where he want to go. But we also got to take some of them carries off of him. When you look at us, Mr. Charles, last year at that position, we lose one of the running backs in the first game. We lose one before we even get to the first game. And so we out there with 2 walk-ons, you know, taking a bunch of reps, you know, last year. And so it definitely won't be that. You know, you got A bunch of running backs that's returning from the spring. You know, Tyler Citizen, a ULL transfer we just picked up. He's doing an amazing job.
Tyler Citizen from ULM. Who's that? Tyler Citizen, ULM. Tyler Citizen, ULM. All right, he's supposed to be pretty good. 10 carries, 73 yards. Played versus TCU, Arkansas State, and Kennesaw State. 5'10", 182. All right. Okay. I'll take a look.
Trey Minor, he's doing an awesome job. And so we got some guys to really help, you know, Sewell back there. So he won't have to take that pounding and for a rugged, you know, 12-game schedule.
And then I've heard Coach Frederick, when we talked with him earlier, he talked about our offensive line and how that is really going to be a big key in terms of quality and quantity.
You know, Coach Watson has done an amazing job just beating the streets, going and improve that room. And you talking about Andre Barton. You know, Stanchek, you know, we had him at El Paso and called me and said, hey, Coach, man, we got a player for you. You know, we just can't, we want to get back closer to home. He's from Dallas. And Coach Watson hit him up, and next thing you know, he's signed, sight unseen. So he's on campus, he's working. He's about 6'5", about 285, you know, at the tackle. Then Shardaeus Taylor, a transfer from Southern Miss via East Mississippi. And I finally got a kid from Vicksburg, you know, so that's awesome. Anytime we can. I think that's a trifecta for me. I got one from Natchez, one from Vicksburg, one from PG. Now I got to just, you know, catch up with Fayette. I think I got Fayette. We're going to call Sewell.
Yeah.
And so that's the trifecta.
I ain't going to lie. That boy recruiting. Coach said is recruiting. I'm not going to front with y'all. I usually be popping on Alcorn. But, man, I feel like last year what happened, he talked about, too. Last year, Alcorn, when he took over, he didn't drop any scholarships. I'm going to ask G about this, but I don't think they dropped any scholarships. They retained everybody and just added what they could. I think this year, Coach said is getting what he wants. And I love that for Alcorn. I do.
For me. But, I mean, really, really good player. And he's on campus now. He's on campus running, lifting, and working. And so that position would be so much better. Now you could take the Jackson Pickett's, who ended the year at tackle, but really a guard, and put him inside, you know. And then you get Jaden Bryant, the all second team all MEAC right guard from Norfolk. He coming in, you know, at the right guard. He's starting. And so we got some really good guys, a lot of depth. Derek Cooper from Rancho Cucamonga, a big freshman that's in on campus now. You know, so we'll definitely be a better ball club just in the trenches.
Oh, he said Derek Cooper from Rancho Cucamonga. He from L.A.? Derek Cooper, Rancho Cucamonga. Okay, let's see what he got. Bro, it's big. It's a big dude. I'm pull his highlights up. Derek Cooper, Rancho Cucamonga High School. Okay, yeah. I want to say Jaden Daniels went here. Get these highlights up for y'all, man. Here's y'all Derek Cooper then. See, man, quick little. All right. Oh, that's an ad. Here we go, Derek Cooper though. Big athletic O-line, D-line. I like when people put their own nickname on there. What are you doing? You on the O-line, D? I guess you on the D-line right there. He D-tackle right now. He shed the block. He just shed the block. Okay. O-line. Got it on the screen. Little pancake. Yeah, he looked the part. It's hard trying to watch lineman highlights, man. I swear it's hard. Because, you know, just pancaking somebody is cool, but did you do the right assignment, though, brother? Were you in the right place at the right time? Like, I don't know. I got to know the scheme.
And we talked about the wide receiver along with Mako. Who were the other players at wideout we're looking at?
Yeah, so, Charles, you can take all them wideouts that we had last year except Tyron and move them in the slot now. You know, there's Damon Jones, there's Amarion Blakes. You know, all those guys will go inside. You know, they don't have to play out wide now. And then you bring Jarvis Rush in. I appreciate Chris Blau. Just a little backstory. You know, he leaving Akron. That's like his little mentor. He said, Coach, man, you know, I got this wide out. He thinking about going to Jackson. I was like, nah, Chris, you know, we need him. I remember when he was at Holmes. And so Coach Gales and Coach AR, they drove up that same day. They walked around Walmart for an hour till his mom got home from work up in Louisville. And when they got there, his granddad came in dressed from Alcorn head to toe and was asking what took y'all so long. And so we got him on campus. He's doing an amazing job. You pull his highlight tape up, you know, he's catching balls against Ohio State. You know, these names I'm naming, Reggie Davis in the backfield, these guys played. You know, these ain't guys that just you see practice film on. And so he's done an amazing job, you know.
Who is the people he naming? Reggie. He name dropping, man. I ain't gonna lie, he name dropping like the game right now. He said Reggie Davis? What school did he go to? Football. That's old Reggie. He's 29. That ain't Reggie Davis. He my age. We got to look at some of these guys he's talking about, man.
The spring with us. These ain't guys Ohio State. You know, these names I'm naming, Reggie Davis in the back tape up. You know, he's catching balls against Ohio State. You know, these names I'm naming, Reggie Davis in the backfield, these guys played. You know, these ain't guys that just you see practice film on. And so he's done an amazing job, you know, going through the spring with us. Nico Sanderford, he's the last scholarship kid, big-time wideout. That's athletic that we're waiting on. And so all those wideouts we named that was with us last year besides Time, we're just moving them inside, you know, to play the slot. And they'll be really dynamic. Those guys played. And so we just had to get bigger on the perimeter so whoever the quarterback is can have a bigger target and somebody to get the football to him.
So in this offense, this box storm is just you got the right pieces to make this box storm better.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. You know, without a doubt. I stand on that. The guys did a really good job. You will definitely see a more dynamic offense. It won't be one-dimensional. You think of Alcorn in the past, it was, you know, just lately it was Nico Duffy and Agent Zero and Sewell was the fourth running back. And now we got 4 legitimate running backs, but we also got guys on the perimeter that looks like the Warren Anthony's, that look like the C.J. Bowler, that can catch the football and spread the field vertically for us. And so we're excited about that, but you'll definitely see a more dynamic offense.
Defensively, Coach Deion Roberson, this is his second season.
So, I mean, look, man, if you take anything from what Alcorn got going on, they are building something. I'm going to tell you that. They building something. Let's keep on watching. This is a great interview.
And tackling that, what are some of the things that you're looking at on that side?
You know, beef up front. You know, beef up front. You know, I went back and watched every snap, you know, about 4 or 5 times. And, you know, we got pushed around in two of the big games. And so we just want to, you know, get bigger, and we did that. You know, that defensive staff, you know, did an amazing job. You know, you get Caden Kenny returning, but you also go get Deshaun Palmer, who I just seen bench 400 pounds. And ain't nobody did that since Sterling Shippey. You know, he's down there. He's moving weight. You got Roscoe Malloy from East Mississippi, junior college transfer. He's in the spring, you know, and in the summer working out with us. You got Kenny Andrews returning, you know, from the spring. And all these guys, you know, played a lot, you know, from junior college and got some experience. But they just give us a much-needed, you know, beef up front inside. So now Spottsville don't have to play in the trenches at 255. He can go on the edge and play a true defensive end. Now you got, you know, EJ, you know, playing on the edge at 240 where you had, you know, Kayvon Henderson that was 190, 200 pounds. And so you won't see them guys out there, you know, and so that's going to help us. And now with Steve returning, he makes everybody better. And so now he don't have to spend a whole lot of time in the A-gaps trying to tackle people. You know, he can run to the edge and track things down just because we'll have enough meat inside and won't get pushed around. And so excited about the D-line. Excited about the linebackers. Got a lot of retention there. Sid Roberts, he's going into his red shirt sophomore year. He's doing an amazing job. You know, Jaquez Dew, he's battle tested. He's been in the program 3 years. You know, we got a lot of linebackers that's runners and hitters that's going to really help us. And then, you know, when you get to the back end, you know, wanted to get bigger. You know, Patrick Kent's 6'2" corner. He had a really good summer. You know, had a really good spring. He's doing an amazing job.
You gave some height requirements, too, in terms of that
most
back
definitely.
end.
Yeah, we did that. Yeah, we did that.
Can't be any shorter than who? In terms of height.
Yeah,
like,
Andrew Smith and me. You know, them guys got to be, you know, we got to be bigger. You know, unless you can just jump on top of the building and dunk the basketball doing a 360. I'm not saying that we won't take small DBs, but when you look at the Jacksons, you look at the Southerns, you know, them guys 6'4", 6'5". Cotillion and all those guys, it's just hard for a small DB to be able to do anything with them. And so we wanted to get bigger, and those coaches did it. They did an amazing job and not lose the speed and the athleticism. So we got some guys on the edge that can run. That's athletic. We got some physical safeties. T.J. Jasper's coming in. Tyreek Snow. He's doing an amazing job, and still you got guys like Bakari, McCall that's returning. And so we're excited. We got some well-needed depth, I can tell you that. Just doing the special teams now, when we put these names in, it's a lot of guys that we looked at last year, and we're like, wow, man, it's amazing. We even had an opportunity to win some football games just because we had so many walk-on guys that was really trying themselves. And like I told everybody, Mr. Charles, I wasn't going to come in and tear this whole roster up and go get transfer portals. I was going to develop the program with the guys that we feel like can help us, and I was going to continue to build a program. I'm just not into, getting rid of 35 kids and trying to bring 35 kids in. And so you'll see a lot of the kids who played a lot. A lot of those guys, you will see the enhancement of them. But you'll also see some guys that might not play as much who played a lot last year.
That's tough. That's super tough. I do like the way he looks at things too, though, especially as a Division I head coach. Because look at this. There's also a world where you go ahead and say we're gonna get rid of these 30 players and bring in 30 more players. But when you bring in the 30 players, maybe 25 of those players decide to fully commit and they pull up. 5 of the players hop back into the portal. Right? It's almost like if you want to lose these players and you want to replenish everybody, replenishing them at a wholesale rate is not the best deal. Trying to bring in 50, 60 guys at a time is not the best deal. Coaching up the guys you do have, getting rid of the guys that don't want to be there, that's the deal. Because at the end of the day, you still want guys to play for your program. They got to want to be on this team. They got to want to be Alcorn Braves, right? So now we talk about D-line. Quick little second about D-line. We'll keep moving. We got Ashley Robinson up next, though. Don't worry about nothing. Let's see what Coach said. Got to finish talking about.
Name dropping and saying kids' name, and then they gone. And we got 3 kids in the last, maybe.
He talked about this, too.
She lost her mom. And also, I don't want to get on here and start name dropping and saying kids' name, and then they gone. And we got 3 kids in the last maybe 30 days that's no longer with the program that I felt like would have been a staple of what we doing. And so I just think it's unfair for the guys that's here, for them to not be called, and then we calling names, and all of a sudden until we kick it off, they don't show up or they fly the coop.
Well, you talked about Sewell. What about Spotsville? What do you expect from him?
I think he's going to dominate the line of scrimmage. It's going to look different from what Malachi did. Malachi was such a phenomenal pass rusher. He might not get, as many sacks as he did, but he's just going to anchor the run game down, and Malachi was a great, pass rusher, but, sometimes, he kind of got handled a little bit because he was only 245 pounds. And Spot, he'll be able to anchor that thing down where the run game, won't fall off the table, to them linebackers and to the safeties. And then he just got to continue to work on his pass rush. So when we do need a sack like the Prairie View game where Malachi shut a lot of games down for us because he could put that pressure on the quarterback. But you just look at his physique and you look at his frame and you're sitting there saying, he had to play inside last year and he was just too small for inside. So now we get to move him on the edge. But we expecting Spot to dominate this year. He's a leader. The guys look up to him, and just talking to him about what was the difference in last year's and this year, just as far as the guys. Them guys really fellowship with each other, and them guys really care about each other. So we're excited, about this new football team we got.
And there's some additions to your staff. Coach Musselman coming from Prairie View. Talk about that.
Man, that's huge. He's been a champion. He know what it's like. To hear him be in last week and see the kids running, and doing things, and he's saying, man, these guys don't complain. And I'm telling my coaches, that's awesome that, he says that, but also, our guys ain't complaining, but they beat us for, basically 2 championships. And so, I want him to talk to the kids and let them know, what was the thought process about Alcorn when he was at Prairie View, and also help Coach Rowe because he's been a coordinator in this league. He can use his notes to be able to help game plan, and so I don't have to spend as much time in there. So Mississippi guy, born and bred, he one of us. I always, looked up, mentored him and just watched him from afar. So it's good to just get him back home. And, the new one on the staff, the new baby is Tyron McCullough. McCullough be with us. He'll have the nickels. And be with me, helping me out with the safeties. And so we're excited. He played for us. just recently, and I always stayed in touch. I knew he had some insight for the game and loved being around. And so when I gave him a call and asked him if he wanted to be a part, he said it's a no-brainer. And so that round out, the new additions to the staff.
So a lot of.
All right, so yeah, Coach Said gave us a lot of info, man. I'm gonna tell you that, and honestly, I appreciate it. I think it's good that he's able to share like information and stuff like this, especially on this type of platform. He finds a nice safe space to do it, and it makes sense. So yeah, and I like that a lot. So shout out to what Alcorn got coming up, and this interview made me a little bit more bullish on Alcorn. Talk about their quarterback situation. They got 3 quarterbacks going between Trey Lawrence, Jalen Tolbert, and Andre Washington. Right, 2 guys are transferred. Jalen Tolbert transferred from Howard, and they got Andre Washington transferred from Charlotte and South Carolina State. You got some guys that can play QB, right? He talked about his receivers. He moved a lot of his receivers from last year. A lot of those young guys move into the slot now, which is great for fast guys, speedy guys, undersized receivers. And then you bring in some new commitments at receiver to play outside. Much taller, bigger receivers, bigger, stronger. We've seen, we see what Jackson State looks like, right? And if the rest of the conference is lining up to look like Jackson State, go ahead and find you a Jonas Fortillion outside. Go and find you a Samar Savage outside. A true X receiver, right? Your 6'2", 215, 230 receiver right there, right? Your Xavier Legette, right? Your DK Metcalf, Justin Jeffersons, right? Your number 1 receiver. Usually it's an alpha receiver, a big guy that you can get the ball to wherever on the field because he's physically intimidating. I think that Alcorn lacked that last year, and now this year we're able to bring your young receivers inside into the slot means that you have some reputable forces on the outside. And look, you got to just watch out for Alcorn. I feel like Alcorn is going to be in the mix this year. And given the fact the SWAC is close to wide open, but the SWAC West is especially wide open, this is going to be a slugfest, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to lie to you. The SWAC West finna be something different. So let's take a look at Ashley Robinson's interview. Broke down some pretty cool things. I got to say, definitely the coolest athletic director in HBC sports and probably sports in general.
Wise Pelican makes it easy to edit and mail postcards, letters, and brochures in
So I want to shout out to BCSN. Shout out to Game Time. They did their thing. It was a nice interview. Went ahead and found some pretty good points. So let's go ahead and find it.
Walking around with a shirt tied. It's about these coaches and these student athletes and giving them what they need to be successful. You want to be successful in athletics. If you're not a servant, you're in the wrong profession.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. AD?
Dr. Robinson, yes, number one, I always kid you because I can, because if you weren't successful at what you were doing, I wouldn't be kidding you, because nobody would even catch half the jokes that we'd be shooting back and forth at each other.
Right.
But you've been successful, a successful program, successful off the field, and some of the things you do.
And multiple institutions too.
Yes, multiple institutions. But even with that success, there's still opportunities for growth.
That's right.
So going off of Dr. Cavill giving you the ranking, the top ranking, still, what are some of the things that you still look to improve on so that you can maintain that title and the envious position of other people in the SWAC so that you can remain out front? What are some of the areas that you look to improve on this upcoming year?
That's 2-time winner, 2 out of the last 3 years.
That's right. So, we got to improve on the infrastructure. We got to do some things infrastructure-wise to make sure that our facilities are upgraded. We got to do some things when it comes to NIL. When it comes to supporting our programs and making sure we're giving our coaches, that latitude to do what they need to do. We got to improve on meeting those benchmarks when it comes to opting in. Those are huge benchmarks when you come to different sports and what you can and can't do and those things. So those are 3 areas that you talk about infrastructure. We got to get that. I'm a big structured organization guy. We got to come up with a strategic plan, and we've had some things in place. Right now, we have the 40 by 40 campaign. We have the Building Champion Fund that's out there. So we're doing.
I ain't gonna lie. If you trying to get some money, get with Coach Ash. If you trying to find a bag, get with AD Ashley. Get with the boy. Because I ain't going to lie. He's a bag chaser, and he's getting to it.
Things differently. One of the things different I wanted to do is, for Labor Day weekend, we're always at some classic. So we've created a classic on campus this year, and we'll be home against Hampton. We're doing something different. Hope Credit Union Labor Day Classic. And when I say Hope Credit Union Labor Day Classic at Jackson State, you know what that means, right? That means we're going out in the community and we're creating revenue and building the community to do some things and naming those classics and bringing things home so we can do more things to support our student athlete. So I'm tasked with, my biggest piece is, I gotta go find the revenue. I got to go find the sponsorships. I got to go build more relationships in the community, more relationships in the state of Mississippi, more relationships in the nation, in the United States to support Jackson State athletics and tell people what we're about. And that's the biggest task. And I think, once you create that revenue and you come in and do what you need to do, everything else falls in place. You've got the right coach in place, and no doubt I feel like we have all our head coaches. I'm very, happy and successful with them. So I got to do my job now, and that's the biggest piece. I got to go out and create more opportunities for NIL and more revenue-based opportunities so we can support our coaches and student athletes.
Well, you got 11 institutions trying to chase your heels down. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, last question, Mike.
Yeah, actually, good to see you. Sitting next.
I ain't gonna lie, that mic is cooked. Jeez, man, that joker killing my ears.
You. Obviously, I'm wearing blue, but not by design. I was in the transfer portal a few years ago. That little thing that happened with Prairie A&M, but I'm back out now. So like Dr. Bill. So
well, I know they give you $10. I got 12.
You got 20. I'm 20.
I can give you a $2 raise.
Appreciate it. Doc, don't give me nothing. So but grief. But anyway, we talked about, your award, but, you talked earlier about your stakeholders. You talked about, the faculty. You talked about the administration. You talked about the players. As you go into 2025, tell us, some of the ways you're going to really engage those other stakeholders, and that's the fans, the alumni. Tremendous job up to this point. Probably one of the most engaged alumni and fan base that you have. Can you tell us what are some successes? What are some of the next steps to make sure that they stay engaged as well?
Right. Well, I think one of the biggest pieces is one of the things that alumni asked me to do is bring more classics to Jackson. And that's what we're doing. We just signed a 3-year deal. I don't know, with Tuskegee. Tuskegee would be a classic every year. We use that at double.
Wait, what? A 3-year deal with hold on, he tried to sneak that in there. My boy told me how to back up without doing the thing. You just do the little, you heard that? What'd he say?
Let's bring more classics to Jackson.
Okay.
And that's what we're doing. We just signed a 3-year deal. I don't know, with Tuskegee. Tuskegee would be a classic every year. We use that at Double C Gordon Classic. They would be on campus, and I think that's a great matchup. And also,
Tuskegee. Alandria. Look, Alandria, I'm talking to you. Y'all can't keep doing this, dog. Tuskegee, man, y'all can't keep doing this, dog. You already playing Alabama State. End of the season. They got this big old 30,000 seat stadium. Y'all got to play them at the end of the season. Now, for the next 3 years, you're going to play Jackson State? Like game 2? We're talking about JSU right now. But effectively, all 3 of Tuskegee's non-conference games have been locked up for the foreseeable future. At least 3 years. You got the Red Tails Classic. They're locked into this. That's their opening game. Now you are locked into the W.C. Gordon Classic with Jackson State for the next 3 years. And your last non-conference game is against Alabama State, the Turkey Day Classic. And you're locked into that for life. So now we're locked. I'm just trying to find some wins on the Tuskegee schedule. And we're talking about Tuskegee at Jackson State. Tuskegee at Alabama State. Those are guaranteed losses. But, hey, man, good on Jackson State for finding Tuskegee and finding this deal. I think that's most important. I think AD Ashley went and found this deal and made things happen. Because there is no reason, and I mean no reason, that Tuskegee and Jackson State should play football competitively against each other. I can't find one good reason. Hell, I can't even find half a good reason. Other than it's all about this. That's all it's about this. Roughing at Tuskegee, AD at Tuskegee, you about that money. I see. You setting the whole schedule up just based around the money, get the chili, you're going to revenue retrieve every year. I get it. But I thought wins were important. I thought winning football games was important. Or is this more important? That chili. The chili baba. Mayan. Is that more important than being competitive? Because Coach, AD Ashley just told us that next 3 years y'all playing Jackson State. Next couple of years you're playing Alabama State. Don't sound fun. Sorry. I'll pass.
Start doing some things for Labor Day weekend each year. And that's one of the initiatives that we want to do to keep revenue base here. Our fans travel, and I tell them all the time, I'm not really concerned about, the other games except the 5 home games. I need 50,000 out of all 5 home games. We travel. We're going to travel. We're going to be there and do a lot of things. But, we've done a lot of traveling the last 5 or 6 years. So, I wanted to make sure that we bring some games home, bring some classes home, create some revenue there, be able to sell some sponsorship, create some inventory. I tell people you can't have sponsorships and do things without the inventory. So we're creating some inventory and creating some space and creating some naming rights and creating some classic names and things of that nature so we can bring that revenue in. And we're doing that. That's one of the newest things that we're doing, that we're working on. One of the things we talked about this earlier, we have the 40 by 40 campaign. I tell people, if you just sit down and think about the 40 by 40 and people at JSU by 40, you're asking 50,000 alums to get $40 a month. And if you do the math, if you do that consistently in a 12-month base, you can support your athletic program on a day-to-day basis and do what you need to do. And then on the Building Champion Fund to support our facilities, we ask 50,000 give $10 a month. And that's a 12-month campaign that we're working on. And the biggest piece is it's a training process, but it's also an educational process and teaching your alums on how to give. Sometimes it's not about how much you give. It's about the volume of people that give. So if you get 50,000 people to give every single month to athletics, you think about some of the things that they will give. And not just, I tell people, I'm not just advocating for athletics. If you 50,000, just give to Jackson State University. Give to the college you graduated from. Just give to the institution. If you think about if all 50,000 come together and give, Jackson State has no problem. So that piece is educating them, and our people like to see, and when I got here, I said, hey, you got championships now. You're seeing some of the things we're doing in facilities. So now I gotta lean on you to make sure that and put some pressure on you. Say, hey, I need your support. And there's no time other than now that we need support.
Okay. So yeah, Coach Ash dropped some gems. Not gonna lie, dropped some gems about how Jackson State's schedule has been going. He talked about all the road games. In the past couple of years, they have had a lot of road games. Even when Coach Prime was at Jackson, he was complaining about the Bethune-Cookman game being played at Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium. These road games have definitely been tough on Jackson State the past couple of years. And I think now they're to a point to where they're super established. They are the kings of the SWAC, reigning kings of the SWAC, 2-time, kings of the SWAC. So they can dictate some things now. And I think that this team shouldn't be traveling everywhere. No way. I wouldn't want my team traveling like that. So now, shout out to my boy Blue. Shout out to Blue Bloods, man. My boy Zach over there at Blue Bloods did a great interview with Toriano Morgan. And really, he got into something very interesting at the end of the interview that I thought was good. Zach asked Jacobian about his draft stock, what it looks like, and what college scouts have been asking. NFL scouts have been asking from him as far as improvement and development. Let's take a listen.
Fight through it. So just being a better leader. But, you know, I'm following TC, so he's the best leader I've ever met in my life. So, you know, I'm getting coached right. Everything's going to happen right, and everything to be that leader is going to happen.
Last question, man. There's a lot of talk about you being on draft boards after this year. What's some feedback that you've gotten from the scouts in terms of what you need to do to put yourself in that position to be the next player from Jackson State to either get drafted or even make a roster at the next level?
Just being more consistent in my feet work, marrying up my feet work to the game, marrying up my feet work to the routes, and being able to, you know, elongate plays. You know, everybody needs a playmaker on the team, but, you know, when to be a playmaker and when to take the 4 yards instead of scrambling around, and, you know, so just being a smarter player, and like I said, my feet work. It came from
Excellent. So yeah, I think the same thing. You know, you look at Jacoby Morgan, big, tall quarterback. He does not do a great job of extending plays. He doesn't. He is very rational with the ball. He tucks the ball when he needs to tuck the ball and makes some moves with it. But I think a lot of the time we talk about Jacoby Morgan, he may not be the reason why you win or lose this game, right? They lean on the running game at Jackson State. They do, right? Some big passes that Jacoby Morgan has made help out a lot, especially downfield going to Jonas Fortillion has been nice for them. But when we talk about, you know, his development as a quarterback, yeah, you want to see him extend plays. You want to see his feet underneath him as he makes a lot of these throws. See, some of his throws can be inaccurate, and I think that's because he doesn't have a strong base underneath there. So, yeah, I 100% understand what some of these scouts are saying. And, I mean, quite honestly, yeah, you took at Jacoby Morgan, he's definitely going to be a pro quarterback prospect, right? This year, he needs to prove that he can throw the ball and what he can do in the air. So, let's see if we can see KC 1400 Media, man. They do a really good job. Shout out to Ken and all the rest of the guys over there. They did a very good interview with TC Taylor. Let's take a look at this TC Taylor interview. Very good stuff. And he talked about a little bit about the collectives, and he talked about retention, which was the biggest thing.
The transfer portal and all the poaching that's going on in college athletics now, kind of speak to your thoughts on what you're doing at Jackson State.
And retention is everything when you're building a dynasty.
Oh, yeah.
I hate to use that word.
I like it because that means that there are more championships to come.
That's right. When you're trying to build a dynasty, retention is everything. I just hit on a few names. You know, the season that Jonas Fortillion had.
Yes, sir.
You never would have thought he'd be putting on a JSU jersey this fall. You know, shout outs to KC 1400.
Shout out to the fans.
Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit that like button.
Hey, support. We need that. But, you know, who else? Jeremiah Williams.
Yes.
You're talking about one of the top D linemen in the country. You know, and I talk to these guys about this. It's the way that college football is, you know, the landscape we're talking about right now. It's not many legacy guys.
Yes.
Jeremiah Williams, I'm so blessed to have him in our program because he started at Jackson State. Here he is going to finish up his senior year at Jackson State.
Almost unheard of.
Same with Jonas Fortillion. He has 2 more years, but he's still here.
Yes,
you know, Jacoby Morgan, I call him a legacy guy. He did start out at Syracuse, but I recruited him.
Yeah.
He's been here with us for 3 years.
Third year.
Yes. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So retention is everything when you're trying to establish a championship culture.
Absolutely.
It also ties in big time with the coaching staff. You know, if you think back to 23 to this point, how many coaches I've had in here. I had some great coaches. I can think back to J.O.
Man, you got
Bradley.
Those
guys I played in the Celebration Bowl with at Central. You know what I mean? And, you know, they went on and moved on to South Alabama and other places. Then we got those 2 juggernauts in here last year, Chris Orr, you know, Khalid James. You know, they was an intricate part of us, you know, winning the Celebration Bowl. But I was also able to replace the Khalid James with Coach Aaron Jackson that was already in the building.
Yes, sir.
They learned under Khalid, you know, that was gold. He already understands our culture. Jeremiah and the rest of that elite D-line group believes in him.
Yes, sir.
You know, so those things play as a big role. Justin Sanders comes from the University of Charlotte taking over the linebacker, but he's right there from Pearl.
Yes, sir.
He's right there from Pearl.
Welcome back home.
He knows TC Taylor.
That's how
he
you
knows
find
JSU.
that dude finds some good coaches. I'll tell you that.
All those things play a big role in it. But retention is everything when you're trying to establish a culture because the rosters are changing year in year. No, let's say day in day out. Until you kick a spot football for that first game. Rosters are changing. You guys know that. Y'all around, the rosters are changing.
Yeah, it is.
So you're just trying to get these guys to training camp, really to August. You know what I'm saying? Not August, but that first game. But when you're able to obtain coaches and get the good ones in here, Manny Ramirez, come on, man.
Line coach,
best HBCU football. Hey, let me tell you, that's one room I go by every day. And, all right, coach. Everything good.
She's good. That's right.
Absolutely. But these guys are brought up in our building.
Yes, they have.
Real good job. A lot of people don't know he called a lot of the Celebration Bowl games. I'm saying that now. He did a great job in that game. And I told him, I said, I'm gonna give you an opportunity here, but I'm gonna be right there with you. But I see it in him.
Yeah.
So that's a great question. But retention is everything when you're trying to build a dynasty.
Good deal.
So, Coach, I have one last question for you. You have to wear so many hats. With being a coach, you have to be a father figure. You have to be disciplined. You have to be tough on these players. But you also not only grew them to be great football players, but you grew them to be great men.
Yeah.
So how supportive? How that kind of start with a great staff with you not being stretched with like your this ID in the AD. Everybody seems to have a good relationship to make this whole thing move.
Every successful program in the country has a successful ED in the country. Yeah. That's why, at the end of the Celebration Bowl last year, people, coach, when you leaving, you going, man, it's hard to go places and find an AD that supports you the way that guy, Ashley Robinson, supports football and loves the game of football. So that's a major part. The relationship he has with our players.
Yes, sir.
They love him as well because, they know he does so much in order for us to be successful and to continue to be successful. Right. So the relationships are everything. That's something I take to heart anytime I look at a job or anything. What kind of support you have? The administration, your AD, are you getting everything you need in order to be?
Well, that looks like a coach that's in complete control. I'm not gonna front. Looks like a coach that's in complete control. But we're gonna end the stream on that, man. I did want to push another hour, but everybody, don't forget, hit that like button right now. Go ahead, smash it for me. Smash the like button before you slide up out of here. But I do got to coach in the morning. I will say I'm coaching the kids. First day back, man. We got 2 days coaching girls SWAC football. So we're gonna be back on the field tomorrow morning, and hopefully I can do a night show with y'all. We got plenty more topics to go through anyway. And we didn't even get through most of the MEAC. We didn't even touch the MEAC Media Day. So we got even more stuff to talk about. So there's so much to touch on. You talk about Delaware State and what happened over there. You even talk about Shady McCoy and what he did. Oh, man. The boy called Howard Hampton, y'all. He called Howard University Hampton. And he did it twice. The boy did it twice. So look, man, we'll talk about that on the next stream. Shout out to everybody for tuning in. Thank everybody for tapping in with me. It's your boy Kelly Flicks from the Lace Up Podcast. It's the Lace Show.